and welcome to, I've been going through a lot of names for my show, so I'll call it In the House with Eddie Motta. Today's guest, I love this character. He's one of my favorite people. We go way back in the day since gas was 99 cents a gallon. I played college baseball with him at Palm Beach Atlantic University. After, when he graduated, he became the Texas Rangers scout. He was a scout for the Texas Rangers, and then he is the president of Prospect Wire. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only Cliff Terracuso in the house, baby! Cliffy, baby!
What's up? What's up, Eddie? What's going on? What's going on, big dog?
It's so good having you, man.
Yeah, man.
We had a lot of glory days back in the days, and it was so much fun because I remember when I was, it was my sophomore year at Palm Beach Atlantic University, and I think it was your senior year.
I think you were a year behind me, weren't you, bro?
I was 1 year. No, I didn't play 2 years with you, did I?
No, you played one. My senior year, you were a junior. You transferred in from Palm Beach State Community College, remember?
Yeah. So
remember when I used to make fun of you, telling you were the guy chasing the foul balls, and you said that wasn't me?
Yeah, that wasn't me. That was a rendition of me. So we're live right now, and we're live actually on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope, all at the same time.
Cool.
So Cliffy, talk to me, baby. What are you doing right now? And tell me your journey, because after you graduated from college, I know you coached a couple of times, but then you became the scout for the Texas Rangers. And then what happened throughout those years?
Well, I mean, when I got done playing, just like anybody else, man, when you're done playing, it sucks. You want to play forever, And I started coaching. Right away, and ended up coaching at PBA with Palm Beach Atlantic with Kyle Forbes. And we had Mike Keaty on the staff, you remember, and Keith Ambrose, pretty good group of guys right there. It was awesome. And then I left PBA and I went to St. Catherine College of Kentucky, middle of nowhere. Worked for a guy named Luther Bramblett, awesome dude, middle of nowhere. I'm talking 45 minutes south of Louisville, 45 minutes south of Lexington. And then I got lucky and I coached at a Division I school in Nashville called Lipscomb University. Worked for a guy named Win Fletcher there, which was awesome too, which is a ton of friends there. Got a chance to coach 3 big leaguers, Caleb Joseph, Josh Smith, and Rex Brothers, which were 3 outstanding players. And then after Lipscomb, I ended up coming back to Palm Beach State Community College. And I worked for Alex Morales, and lucky enough, Kyle Forbes was our old coach, Forbesy. He was able to hook me up to be the recruiting guy there. So got a chance to coach 3 big leaguers there too, man. Tony Cruz, Brad Peacock, and Kevin Segrist. All 3 really good players, good kids. And then after, I'm losing my days here. So after Palm Beach State, I went to Nova Southeastern University. And I worked for Mike Momini and Greg Brown, and worked with one of our best friends, Ryan Romero. Remember Ryan?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Ryan, yeah, Ryan, we love Ryan. And Ryan, it was always like our dream, man, to coach together. And we had a good run, 3 years there, and coached 4 big leaguers there with Carlos Asuaje, Mike Fires, Miles Miklas, and J.D. Martinez. And that was pretty cool. And then I got hired by the Rangers. And I was a Central Florida area scout doing Central Florida for about 3.5 years. And then I had the opportunity to do South Florida, which was really cool, coming back home into the South again, which I covered Puerto Rico and the Bahamas and anywhere they needed me to go, bro. I was willing to go. I mean, I was always on the road, 100, 150 nights a year, just grinding away, 50,000 miles in a car, burning the pavement, dude, grinding.
Cliffy, sorry. How come I hear echo from your view?
I ain't got an echo here, bro. You're perfect.
Are you sure?
You're perfect.
Okay. Go ahead, continue with that, Cliff. And
no, so then I had an opportunity to work for Leaf Scouting, my dream job, and I worked for Baseball Cloud. Ended up making a move to the data analytics side of the game, and Kevin Davidson, KD, was the guy behind the scenes there, the CEO, and I believed in what their vision was, which way the game was going. And I wanted to be a part of it. So And then there was a need for me to become the president of Prospect Wire, which you ended up going out there last year to our next gen out there at TCU, which is really cool. And the All American games, we had a good time. You killed it. I mean, the videos were epic. I thank you again for doing that for us. And then I got appointed the president. Well, I guess like the day before Christmas or something. So, and then had all these plans to rock and roll, and now we're halted, man. Now we're grounded. So I mean, it's weird, dude. We're home.
Yeah, you know what? I don't even want to talk about. Let's talk about the positive side of Cliffy. What is the as being a Texas Ranger scout? What's the percentage of a successful rate when it comes to scouting a ball player? Because you just don't know whether it's a first rounder or a 50th rounder. You just don't know how that kid's going to excel. So, what is a good percentage for a scout? Say this scout knows what he's talking about.
Tough question, Eddie. I mean, like, it's not about always who you get in the draft, because like I said yesterday and on somebody else's thing, I mean, it's you're gonna be lucky to get somebody in the draft, dude. It's hard, getting kids drafted. It's not as easy. I mean, we played our whole lives and we never got drafted. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's a lot of that out there. So, it's sometimes you do. It's what you don't. The guys you don't draft. The decisions that you are able to give your organization, so you don't take that kid because you might know more information than other people. So that's kind of where it's at. I mean, like, we want to sit here and say, yeah, we can project and we're all great at what we do, and all the scouts that are out there, they're outstanding evaluators, they're grinders, they get after it. It's sometimes it's better off not drafting the guy with bad makeup to put your organization in a hole.
So pretty much the percentage is very
low. Low. Yeah, I mean it's low. I mean it's hard to get drafted. It's hard to make it to the major leagues. It's not easy, dude.
So Cliffy, give me the schedule during scouting. You wake up in the morning on a full day. Okay, give me the schedule. Let's say you're in Central Florida or South Florida, wherever you are. What do you have to cover? How many schools? What are you doing that one day? Talk to me.
All right, so let's back up. It's all about preparation. So in the summertime, I mean, we watch all these tournaments. We go to all these events, a Prospect Wire event, whatever events. We hit as many events as we can, and we start gathering together our list, our pref list, our follow list, if you will. So then when the springtime comes around, you already have your cheat sheet. Maybe it's 50 names, maybe it's 70 names, maybe it's 35 names. It depends, So basically, you wake up in the morning. I mean, it's an awesome life. You wake up in the morning, you yank out your calendar, you look and see, like, where's the games, what's the double ups, because you want to do 2 games a day if you can, and you don't have to stay the whole game. You go there and get your work done, and you're good to go. I mean, get your 3 at bats, get in the car, you just start driving to the next field. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It really is. I mean, it's pretty fun. I mean, most people think that you're just sitting there watching the game like a normal person. No, we're not. I mean, we're there actually grinding and working and bearing down. We have fun at the yard. Everybody has fun at the yard, but when there's time to like actually bear down and like do our job, I mean, for the most part, we all get after it. So, but there's also the air traffic control. Like, if you're my cross checker and you're coming into town, sometimes I might have 3 or 4 guys in my area, so I got to say, hey, Eddie, I need you at Florida Atlantic University. BP's at 3 o'clock. I want you to watch the guy in Group 2. His number 15. He's the third hitter. Bats left-handed, sitting on the other side on the third base dugout. So and so, you're in Sarasota. I need you to go to Manatee Community College. There's an arm going at 2:30. And then once you're done there, I need you to get this high school game, but another kid that I like. And then there's another guy down in Miami. And you're like, hey, man, I need you to go watch so and so play at 3 o'clock. And then when you're done, I need you to race over. Here's the directions. So you're like the air traffic controller as the area scout in your area. You know what I mean? Because you have your cross checkers and your national guys and your directors. So you're always trying to make sure that they're at the right game. You know what I mean? You don't want to send them somewhere where, nobody's playing.
Cliffy, how does the scouting when it comes to the ranks? You have the cross checker's the guy that is actually right-hand man to the GM. Is that how it works?
No. So you have the general manager, then you have usually about 3 or 4 assistant general managers, and the assistant general managers usually are in charge of certain departments. So one guy might be in charge of the farm, the player, all the minor leagues. One guy might be in charge of international baseball, international scouting. One guy might be in charge of the pro side, pro scouting, and then there's another guy who's in charge of usually amateur, and that's your director. So you have your director who's the top, and then below him, usually there's 2 national cross checkers, one that does the East and one that does the West. And then below them, there's usually 4 regional cross checkers, one that does the Northeast, one that does the Southeast, one does the Northwest, and one does the Southwest. And then usually there's probably about 5 to 6 area scouts underneath each cross checker. Make sense?
Right. So who that report to the GM and says, "Hey, there's a guy down in South Florida that's no joke. This is the guy."
Well, it's usually the director. So I mean, the director is the guy that calls the name on draft day. I mean, he's got all the power. He's the one answering to the general manager. So it's usually your director. I mean, like when we go in and we sit in that hot seat and we start talking about our players. I mean, we get to know as much as we can about the players, and we try to go after, like and talk about everything that we know about each and every player. Who's the agent? What school he's committed to. What the parents are like. What information you got from the assistant coaches on the team, maybe a parent on the other team. You know what I mean? Like you try to gather as much information as you can, just so when the time comes, you have all the information you need. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to get that stuff wrong.
So Cliffy, so importantly, how's his health? How does he get along with his parents? How did he grow up? I mean, you guys want all that information because if you invest in a lot of money into this kid, I mean, you want this kid to be healthy, right, all around.
Yeah, I mean, think about it like if you had the Eddie Mata multi millions, right? You have the Mata funds, and you have to go out there and play the stocks, for the livelihood of all the Matas and the future Matas. I mean, you're going to do all your homework before you purchase a stock. You have to do everything, everything you possibly can about that stock before you say, hey, man, I'm going to invest my family's inheritance on this stock here.
Right.
It's just pretty much the same thing in scouting.
So if how come I hear that, Cliff? Hold on a minute. What do you hear that?
Not me.
No.
Mm-mm.
All right, I'm making sure, man. I'm a little all right. But then Cliffy, here's the thing. What happens if a kid has like he had surgery in the past and stuff like that? Like let's say he had he broke his ankle or he had a Tommy John. I mean, kids are getting Tommy John at 15 years old right now. Will his stock go lower? But otherwise, it could be an advantage for him because he might throw 5 miles per hour faster, right?
Yeah, every kid's different, dude. You know what I mean? So like that's why before we even get into that room to draft the kid, we get what's called the medical. So we have to reach out and get all of his medical notes. And what we do with that is we hand that over to our team doctors, and our team doctors put grades on each guy. Whether if it's an A, B, C, D, or an F. So everybody's medical is different. Like Mike Fires back in the day, he had a horrible accident, going back to his NAIA school, before his going into his senior year, and literally like he ended up going, pitching his senior year at Nova, but I mean he ended up getting drafted. His medical was literally it was a book, dude. I mean there was so much stuff in there. I mean they had to put an F on him, and the scout that took him with the Brewers, I mean he did a great job of getting to know the kid and he ended up becoming a big leaguer. I mean, like a lot of guys can overcome a ton of bad stuff that's happened. It's called adversity, dude. I mean, it's a hard game, bro. You know what I mean? Like you're in the minor leagues, and I mean you're not doing so good. You want to go home.
Cliffy,
The tough kids get through it.
Cliff, tell us about when you guys scout. You have a certain number of there's a 5-2 player or 3-2 player or 4-2 player or 2-2 player, whatever. But when you say numbers, you evaluate from what 20 to what?
20 to 80 is the scale. So a 20 is poor.
Mm-hmm.
A 30 is well below average.
Mm-hmm.
A 40 is below average. A 45 is called fringy average. A 50, a 5, is average.
Mm-hmm.
A 55 is solid average.
Okay.
A 60 is plus or the word good. A 70 is very good or plus plus. and then an 80, which is the top of the food chain, is excellent. I mean, those are like Hall of Fame players. So when you see a guy on TV now, like a Derek Jeter, he's an 80 player. You know what I mean? Like the Mike Trouts, he's an 80 player. I mean, you put these guys in their roles and what they're going to be. Does that make sense?
Right. So, but hold on a minute. Jeter, you can't say he's 80 in every category, right?
No, it's the overall sum of what you've put together on what you think that player is going to be. So yeah, you put grades and numbers on players, their hit tool, their power, their run, their defense, their fielding. You know what I mean? Their arm, their running, hit, power. Those 5 tools you're evaluating and putting numbers on them, which is outstanding. That's what you should do. You know, but overall, your overall grade is what you think he's going to be in the major leagues one day. That's your overall role and what you think is going to be. I mean, to sit here and think that scouts thought that Derek Jeter was going to be a Hall of Famer, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you did, then you were outstanding as an evaluator. Most guys believed he was going to be just an all-star, you know?
Right.
But he overcame it.
And most people believed that he would just hit like 260 to 270. They just wanted his defense.
Yeah, I mean, back then, I mean, it was coveted. So, but I mean, he like broke the record, I think, in the Gulf Coast League for most errors by a shortstop.
56. I remember that.
You know what I mean? So like for a kid, at that time he was a kid. For him to overcome that was pretty awesome. You know, like most kids would have broke the record, be like, man, screw this, dude. Like, you know, I stink. He was like, you know what? He used it as motivation. He got better. Hall of Famer, dude. Hall of Fame work ethic is what he has.
Well, here's the thing. They work. All right. If a kid tells his dad and mom that, hey, I want to be a baseball player, and he's at 8 years old, as a parent, what should they tell him? I mean, it's hard, Cliffy. It's hard.
Yeah, but I mean, like Eddie, you grew up playing other sports too, right? I mean, you played basketball, baseball. Yeah. I mean, anything you get your hands on, right? As long as we were competing, right? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, tennis, ping pong. I mean, who cares? Whatever. You're competing, right? I mean, wiffle ball in the backyard, stickball with your boys. I mean, rag ball. I mean, you're competing. I mean, that's just the way that we grew up was competing. You know, like I remember like talking. It was my second year in scouting, and I got a chance to go watch a hitter, and we got there early for batting practice, and and who's there was Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs was actually in the cage in Tampa because he was assistant coach, helping out, whatever, just hanging out, and we were just picking his brain, me and my assistant GM, and he was just like going to town about how like back then he never took BP. Like these kids take BP before games and all this stuff. He's like, no, man, BP was, me and a bunch of my friends going to the field and we just competed. I pitched against them, they pitched against me, and that was our BP. I mean, think about all the live at bats that dude saw before he even got into a, professional organization. Hall of Fame work ethic.
So pretty much. But nowadays, Cliffy, they don't draft guys like Wade Boggs anymore, man. Tony Gwynn, Wade Boggs. Like Kevin Millar type of guys, they don't draft those guys anymore. I mean, who in the league right now is, if you hit 250 with 20 home runs, you're a stud.
No, but those guys were, the exceptional bat the ball skill dudes. You know what I mean? Like, it's. Of course those guys are getting drafted, dude. You know what I mean? Those guys are going to get drafted. They'd be successful. Right. I mean, they could hit the baseball wherever the hell they wanted to. Like, could you imagine shifting on Wade Boggs or Tony Gwynn, what they would do? I mean, they hit 400. They would just go oppo all day. Boom, see you, boys. Boom. Right? I mean, they moved to that side of the field. You know what? They'd make the adjustment. They'd start pulling balls in the portal.
And if they knew what was coming, they'd probably hit 600.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. But I mean, to say that those guys wouldn't get drafted, no way. I mean, those guys, they were going to be big leaguers. They were going to be Hall of Famers. The Maverick would have killed them. You know what I mean? They were animals, dude. Animals.
Oh, yeah. But, Cliffy, let me ask you this. Let's talk about Barry Bonds. I honestly think if you subtract 250 home runs, he's still a Hall of Famer, man. I don't care what people say.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, he hits so many balls far, dude. You know what I mean? Like, he used a 32-inch bat. You know what I mean? Like, he whistled that thing through the zone. I mean, he got intentionally walked more than anybody. I mean, like, remember how many times he got intentionally walked, dude? I mean, it was insane.
Oh my God, he was such a
I mean,
threat. He was a threat. No matter
he was an animal.
he was a threat.
Yeah, I mean, the whole PEDs thing, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that was what kind of was happening during that time, and that was the era. So,
Cliffy, if you were in the big leagues back then and someone offered you to take it, would you do it?
yeah, of course.
Right? I mean, you're getting paid, right? You're gonna get paid a lot of money.
I mean, you look at a guy like Miguel Tejada. His bank account's pretty awesome. You know what I mean? Like, he was a kid from the DR, had to scratch his way, and came up and was a heck of a player, dude. You know what I mean? All star. I mean, not a Hall of Famer, but I mean, definitely an all star. Made a good living. I mean, it's good to be Tejada if you're Tejada today.
So, Cliffy, tell me about Prospect Wire right now. What you're doing, with all this analytic shit that I agree 50% of it, but all this too much. Oh, the launch, hit home runs. No wonder why the Yankees can't hit with 2 outs and men on base. Right. No wonder why we can't advance in October, at the end of October, pouring champagne. No wonder why. Why you got the Nationals hitting these singles and doubles, home runs will come, and they win the title. Explain that, Cliffy.
Eddie, I mean, first off with Prospect Wire, we run tournaments all over the country. Basically it's like travel ball teams that come from all over, and our staff is amazing. You have Brian Werner, who leads the tournament side, along with Mike Easton and Frank Gates. Those guys are, I mean, they're as great as they come. I mean, these are awesome grinder type dudes, and they love it. On the showcase side, we have Juan Fontella, Travis Flory, and Wayne Terracuso. So I mean, like having those cats, building that side out is pretty great too. I mean, what we've done differently at Prospect Wire is that, normally, like, in the world that we live in, a lot of guys that are out there doing what we do, they're putting their opinions out there on social media and saying, hey, Eddie Mata has, electric bat speed and showed light tower power, and that's totally cool, and that's their opinions, and they're more than welcome to it. Like when we first came in, since we have Baseball Cloud as our parent company, which is this data analytical monster, we have the ability to use data and metrics in our posts. So if you watch Eddie Mata, we're going to put all of your exit velocities on there, your barrel impact momentum. We're going to put your bat speed. We're going to eliminate the opinion portion of it and just have straight numbers on there. Because, at the end of the day, if you're at the University of wherever and you know that the average exit velocity in batting practice at your school, because you have a machine at your school too, is 92.1, and you see Eddie Mata, who's a junior, and he's got an average exit velocity of 94.5. This is a guy that I need to recruit. I mean, like, he's 2.7 miles an hour faster than our average bat speed at our school. So that's the fun part of it. You know what I mean? So, like, does data matter? Yeah, it does. Is it the end all be all? No. Is it a balance? Yes. Is it a tiebreaker on two players? Cliff Terracuso or choose Eddie Mata? Well, you know what? We're both even, right? We're all whatever. Our grades are completely. It's a tie. It's completely tied. So what you do is you say, all right, man, we're gonna go and let's go see their data, and then I say, you know what, man, we're gonna go with Eddie Mata because his exit velocity is 3 miles an hour better than Cliff Terracuso's. I mean, like, that could be the tiebreaker. It could happen,
So, Cliffy, now, before I did Yankees fantasy camp, I went to my boys' batting cages, and they got me at 87, the exit velocity. How's that for an old man?
That's actually really good. I mean, that's good for about a sophomore in high school.
Thanks, man.
I'm joking. I mean, like, even at that thing you were at out there at TCU, our next gen All-American.
You know what, Cliff?
They were monsters, remember?
Cliff, there were 14-year-olds. There was one kid that was 6'4", 220 from Arizona, and I'm saying to myself, "You're only 14?" He's like, "Yeah," and I'm looking at him like this. "You're only 14?"
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? And he's looking at me like this. Yeah. I'm like, what? Cliffy, speaking of that, Here's what you guys did to me. All right, here we go. You want to watch it? Watch this.
Yeah.
Let's see if it works. You see it, Cliff?
I'm trying to shag some fly balls right now. Woo! Beautiful morning, baby. I'm old now, but, do my best. Oh, this guy hits bombs, man. This guy hit 2 over. How come they disrespect lefties? Yesterday hit like 2 out there, right? Remember him? Here it is. Give me that.
Look at me. Look, I might pull a hamstring. Oh!
Look at that. Oh! You got that one? Woo!
Look.
I guess CrossFit's paying off a little bit. Oh, baby, gorilla baseball. Kind of looks smooth, right? A little bit. All right, a little bit. Oh, make sure I don't pull a hammy. Oh, look at that. Going. Oh.
That was awesome. That was fun. Man.
I had the best time of my life there, man. I mean, I was like, when you're not on the diamond for like 10 years, you miss it, man. And you know what? And when you come back to it, that's what people don't understand about the game. Whether you play big league, college, or high school, if you really love the game, if you really understand the game and know what's going on every pitch, and you come back to that, you're like, man, it felt so good being with the fellas, It was like, I can't believe I'm here, man. I really appreciate the invite. I want to thank all your colleagues for having me out there, and especially TCU. What about their facility? Holy!
It was legit. It was legit. I mean, this year, hopefully we get back rock and roll. We're going back to Vanderbilt this year, and then as far as the future years, we got to figure it out. I mean, it's it's an event that a lot of schools want to have the rights to it, and having kids coming all from from California and Arizona and kids coming from New York and Florida, we could have tried to figure out doing somewhere in the middle. That's the fairest way to do it. But we'll see, man. I mean, it all comes down to who wants to have us there, because those guys are some of the top 14-year-olds in the country, man. I mean, they are the top.
When I interviewed kids, those kids were literally telling me, I said, listen, tell me your schedule. You wake up in the morning, then what? One kid, I think from Chicago, he actually went to the same high school as Jalen Rose did. And he told me, and the kid's 14, and he's like 5'11" already. I'm like, all right, well, there you go. He's big already. And I asked him, I said, what's your schedule in the summertime since you have no school? You know what he told me, Cliffy? He says, I wake up in the morning, I work out, then I go to the park, I take ground balls, fly balls, batting practice, get this shit out. I go home to rest, then I come back and take more batting practice. Then I go lift weights, and then I come home and I play PlayStation. And I said, this is your everyday life in the summertime. He goes, absolutely. And I'm like, look at the discipline. Because you know what that kid said? I want to get drafted. I want to take care of my family. Straight up.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, these kids are animals.
But let me ask you this, Cliffy. How many kids nowadays right now, I mean, that's only 1% of these 14-year-olds, their mindset already, they're thinking like a big leaguer, man. And then I see scouts there. I see schools, big schools, and I'm saying there's a Miami's here to look at a 14-year-old. Vanderbilt, that just won the College World Series, to look at a 14-year-old. I'm like, hold on, these kids didn't even play high school baseball yet.
And that's what it's about, man. I mean, like in the scouting world, we're looking at rising seniors. That's who we're concentrating on. The draft is over. You have probably about 3 or 4 days to just chill, and then it all starts back over. You have a whole nother crop of the rising seniors. The recruiting coordinators, they're working on 8th, 9th, 10th graders, man. They're way ahead of us. I mean, hats off to those guys. I mean, they're out there, grinding, watching kids at such a young age and trying to project and offer scholarships and try to, commit these kids early, because if they don't, I mean, they might lose a player. You know what I mean? You might lose them. You can't wait until they're, a junior, or going into their senior year anymore. I mean, these kids are committed early. And, luckily, I want to say we had like a 80 percentile of kids committing out of that event. I mean, it was pretty awesome, you know? I mean, it's potential future first rounders and potential big leaguers. It was cool.
Cliff, tell me the story of you back in the Nantucket days. Talk to me about those.
About the what? About the what?
The Nantucket days.
Oh, man. I mean, I tell you, dude. I mean, people don't understand. I mean, as a college coach, I mean, I coached 13 years. I got paid for 4. So for 9 years, I was a volunteer, and I would do any odd jobs, right? I mean, I was the guy doing lessons in the cage, and then I was the guy freaking substitute teaching, and I was the guy that would caddy, dude. I mean, we'd caddy and go out to Nantucket, and all of our boys go out there, and we'd go and caddy. And it was funny bringing you out there, who never stepped on a golf course ever in your life, man. You know, I mean, like it was. I always tell this story. It's one of my favorites of all time. You know, we're out there, and you got the judge. You know what I mean? Who's probably like one of like the hardest people out there. I mean, he was such a mean dude, but I brought you out there on the loop, man. I'm just like, your pin sheet. I'm gonna take the judge. I'm gonna hang out over here on this side with his other dudes. And those of you that don't know, I mean, you get a pin sheet in the morning, and basically on your sheet it tells you like each hole. You know what I mean? Like every each hole of the golf course and how many yards back the pin is from the front part of the green. So let's say it's like 15 back or whatever. So usually you would give the yardage to the member, in a nice, I mean, these are big time dudes. I mean, Jimmy Pallotta, I mean, Richie Balls, I mean, Roger Penske, I mean, Jack Welch. These guys are big time dudes. You got the judge, he's a big time dude. And Eddie goes, all right, judge, 150 to the front, pins back 15. You do the math. And I just stopped. Remember, I just stopped, and I was like, oh, no. And the judge looked at you, and he started laughing. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, dude, oh, man, 150 to the front, pins back 15. You do the math. I mean, that was something else, dude.
Hey,
that was funny.
They fell in love with me after that, right, Cliff?
Oh, dude, you were known as Fast Eddie, and anytime anybody wanted to have a good time, you were called up, man. I mean, it was something else.
Yo, those Nantucket days, Cliffy. I remember when we docked at where were we in the Nantucket? Yeah, the Nantucket with the boat. You bring your car on the island.
The ferry.
And speaking of surviving, you and I, the first, 2 weeks, we were sleeping in our car. We were finding places to sleep. But we made mad money, man. We were making like $150 a day to $200, man.
I made like $400 a day. But then just like how we operate, me and you, we ended up living in a mansion. Remember?
Yeah. Oh my God, I remember that shit, man. Actually, you ruined the guy's toilet, remember?
I mean, yeah, true story.
Oh my God,
I mean,
that was so much fun, man. That Nantucket.
Oh God.
The guys that we caddied, they actually had an Eddie Mata day for me on my birthday. Richie Balls, but whatever his name is, they invited all these people. I think even that lady Serafini, some shit like that, she came.
Yeah.
It was crazy that night, man.
Oh, it was awesome, dude. It was awesome. Yeah, I mean, the Eddie Mata night, that's great. I mean, dude, I mean, some of the stuff that you would do on the golf course, like the etiquette, like you had zero. You had no idea what you were doing, dude. And it was epic. I mean, it was.
And you know what, Cliffy? And then when the people are like, what do you see? I'm like, well, I see right to left depending on your speed.
I mean, it was some good times, man.
Cliffy, and there was some members, right? They were cool because they were like all cocky, but they were good. And they were cocky in a funny way, right? Arrogant humor. And I was like, he's like, Eddie, what do you see? I'm like, well, I see 180 plus 20, 200 to the pin, and you have no fucking shot. So pick out your club. Goes Eddie.
I mean, but these people are trying to they want to know what's the wind like? Is it a 4-club wind? Well, I mean, you had no clue. You're like,
no,
I don't know, man. Just grab a club, dude. Just let's just go. I mean, I'm gonna walk in the fescue anyway. You know what I mean? I'm going to be dropping balls from out of my pocket. Let's just go.
And then fucking Rick Milhouse, excuse my language, but Milhouse, I couldn't stand him because what he would do is he would be like, if I was on his bad list, he would give me one of the worst golfer. I think it was a Shapiro guy name.
No names.
All right, but anyway, this person was so bad, and Rick will punish me. Yeah, give me Fast Eddie on this one. I'm like, oh my god, torture, man.
Oh man, Rick. I mean, I'm still friends with him on Facebook, man. I mean, he's something else. Remember, I mean, he was. I mean, for a boss, I mean, keeping 75 college, post-college dudes. You know what I mean? Like, keeping everybody in line was a hard job, dude. I mean, sleeping in cars, whatever. I mean, that's only me and you. Imagine what the rest of the island was doing.
But Cliffy, a lot of fun, man. That was.
Oh.
I graduated that year from college. You said, Eddie, you're going to make money in this place. They're going to love you. My Cliff, I have no clue about golf. He goes, I got you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was teaching caddy classes. They let me teach caddy classes. I have no idea why.
But you know what, Cliffy? The first week, I was struggling so bad, and Millhouse took me out, cursed me out like crazy, but I could take it. I'm the type of guy, you could pick on me.
Yeah.
I get it. But after that, I remember before that, how was your caddy? He sucked, but he's a really nice guy.
That's all they cared about. You know what I mean? They're like, man, I've had an awful day today. I lost so much money in the stock market. Set me up Fast Eddie. I've had an awful day. Set me up Fast Eddie. Yeah. And you'd make the day better for him. That was, you being you, bro.
Look, that was crazy. I would make them laugh so hard that, after the 9th hole, people like, yeah, just get a Gatorade or a hot dog. To me, Eddie, get lobster tails, get clam chowder, whatever you want, my man. Just keep making me laugh.
I mean, a 6-pack of Heineken. I mean, like, carrying the beers for. I mean, absolutely. I mean, it was.
Oh my God. It was such a blast, man. It was such a blast those days, man. And that's the thing, what I always tell people, when you play baseball and you have that alumni, whether you're a big league or a high school, college, you always remember your teammates that were there for each other and just like looking out for you. Cliffy, you always looked out for me, especially when it comes to exams and shit like that. Remember this?
I had you, Coach. I had you.
Boom, Cliff, remember? 2, 1, 3.
I mean, hey, we got degrees, bro. You can't take it away from us.
And you know what?
We got them.
We were at a Christian college too, and it was crazy. And we were the worst. We were party animals, man.
No. I mean, we have kids now, so I mean, we were solid adults. Future adults.
Don't get politically on me now, man.
Yeah, we were solid, man. I mean, we cared about the community, so.
Oh my God, it was so much fun. And then and just the road trips and. Hanging out during spring break when we had no class and just go, wake up at 2:00, be at the park by 3:30, right? It was perfect.
It was perfect. I mean, but remember, like most people don't understand, like as a college baseball player, as a baseball player itself, you never have spring break, dude. Our first true spring break was like once we got done playing, we're like, well, what do we do now? I don't know. I guess we get to go to Daytona, you know what I mean, or wherever, Clearwater.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, for me, I never had got. We always played. We always had games.
And that's the thing. When you do play college baseball, you don't have a vacation. You literally don't have a vacation because here's the thing. You play college baseball, and I'll give you the schedule. First of all, especially down in Florida, you come to school end of August. By the way, for you viewers out there, end of August is my birthday, so remember that. So you come to college, all right? The following week, you're on the diamond already. You got the tryouts. You got the guys that are returning from the year before. You're playing September, October. You got the fall games, or you're practicing it every day, Monday to Friday, all right? After that, you still got class from 8 to 12. You got to be at the park by 1:30. Or what was it, 1:30, 2:30, Cliffy?
Yeah, early work 1:30, yeah.
Yeah, okay? By the time you get out of there, it's like 5:30. Okay, now you still got to do your homework. You still have to lift weights, okay?
Eat dinner.
Okay, and then guess what? And we had our PlayStation nights too. We had to play. Being kids. But still, we had a responsibility, so we weren't just an average student. Okay, we literally had a schedule, and time flies. Trust me, time flies out there, man. You wake up in the morning, you get home by altogether when you're done. Plus, you got to do your homework. So you eat dinner, you lift weights, you get home by 8 p.m. Now you got to do your homework.
I mean, for us, remember we would play Friday night doubleheader on Saturday, so our Saturday nights were our Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Right, we would exactly.
We'd be at Bradley's, we'd be at have a nice day wherever. Not us because we were Palm Beach Atlantic players at the time, but right. other people were. But Philly tea, spinning at the club. We were.
Oh, look at that! We got Daryl Strawberry watching us. Wow. We got Dax. We got Dax. We got John Lovitz. Look at this. We got Wayne Terracuso, Leslie Grant, Joseph, Julio, Mark Holbert. Look at this crowd. Tyler, my boy Joe Ferrante, Andy Lewis. You don't know him. Look at this. Wow. But and especially
some heavy hitters, Eddie. Some heavy hitters.
We got some heavy hitters, and and the thing about Major League Baseball schedule, that's even worse. People don't understand the grind every day. People are like, oh, what's so hard about hitting a baseball, catching it? I'm like, here, I'm gonna tell you a Major League Baseball schedule, all right, Cliffy? Think of this, okay? You play Friday night. You open the series Friday night, okay? It's the second series at home. You play Friday night. You play Saturday, but guess what? There's a rainout Saturday. Now, if it's a team that's not in your division, you got to play that doubleheader on Sunday, right? Or let's skip that. I'm being too much right now, but I'm just saying Sunday they have a game. It's Getaway. It's Sunday night ESPN game, all right? So guess what? You're in New York. Sunday night's an ESPN game. It's 8 p.m. game starts. Now it starts at 7. But guess what? Now you're going to extra innings. Then you don't finish until midnight, and then you got to hop on a flight. By the time you take your shower, by the time you get the interviews, by the time you get on the bus, by the time you get to the airport, then you take off and you go to Anaheim. What time you showing up the next day for a Monday night game?
Dude, the big leaguers will tell you. Going cross country, the wear and tear in your body like that is unbelievable. The teams that are in the central part of the country have an advantage. Their travel isn't as extensive. Going from New York to LA, after a long game, you know what I mean, and then turning around and have to play the next day. That's a bear, dude. On your body,
Especially if you're a veteran in your 30s, forget it.
Yeah, it's back in the day, you hear stories of guys getting after it on the plane, throwing back some beers, whatever, having a good time, getting there, sleeping, going back to the yard, playing. Those guys were animals back then, during Strauss, during his era. Those guys were animals, dude. Hall of Fame work ethic dudes, they worked hard.
No, they really hard. Okay, so I got a question from my boy Jason Valero. Ask him what really stood out about Jason Dominguez and why everyone wanted him at that age. Cliffy, you know him?
Yeah. I didn't scout him. I was coaching in college at the time. I want to say he was a short, like a stocky third baseman, power guy, maybe out of I want to say maybe like Boston College or something, or Louisville. I can't remember. He was a high draft pick, man. A lot of guys took him and they believed in his bat. He was a guy, I think, who had, it was the hit and the power, and that's what he brought to the table. And when he got to the minor leagues, I would have to look at his numbers. I'm not sure, but he might have struck out a lot. You know what I mean? And sitting here today, who knows? Maybe, LASIK wasn't around back then. Maybe he needed LASIK. Who knows? I don't know what he's doing. But I remember him being a pretty high pick, and I think there was a lot of guys selected after him that were that turned out to be legit, big leaguers too. I think he got a cup of coffee. I think he went up and down in the major leagues. He became a big leaguer. But where he was picked as early as he was, you're kind of hoping to land a frontline arm or a potential all-star. That's what you're hoping for with that first round pick. I believe. I mean, I wasn't scouting. I never really saw Jason Dominguez. I'm just going on from like being around the old school scouts. The guys that are out there like in scouting, like the Alex Moraleses, the Nick Prestos, the Tom Kochmans. There's a lot out. Joe Sayers, Murray Cook. I mean, there's a lot of great. The Pepe Ortegas, the Ralph Reyeses. I mean, these guys are all legend scouts, and these guys have seen all these cats. So the Johnny DePuglias. I mean, these guys. I'm just going back on from what I, you know, just stories. Being at the yard listening and trying to get as much information as I can.
Mm-hmm. Well, Cliffy, what you did staying under the sun at 95-degree weather in the springtime in South Florida and just watching kids day after day after day. Did you ever get sick of it, Cliffy? Did you ever say to yourself, I can't do this anymore?
Absolutely never.
No?
I mean, it was racing to get in the car, racing to get to the field. I mean, getting there and the competition of trying to find the next player to help your organization win, but having the amount of respect for the other scouts that are out there, and being able to, just be cordial with them, and you build a relationship and you're friends with these guys, but you never really give up your information of what, who you like or who you really want. You know what I mean? Like, it's no, the answer to your question, no. I mean, it was something that I loved doing for a very long time. And I mean, I grew up in a dugout just like you, and it was just being out there and evaluating players was outstanding. Making the move to the data side, working for Baseball Cloud has been, I mean, it's still awesome. I'm still involved with, with the scouting community. I mean, it's a different animal now. Being on the data side and analytics, and it's as equally amazing and fun. And then now, being the president of Prospect Wire, it's has its challenges. Just trying to come up with different type of events that are different and cool. Where people are going to want to attend, and the reasons why they want to attend is because, we're going to have more data and machines than anybody else out there. Sensors, diamond kinetics, all over the place.
Well, Cliffy, you've been awesome, man. I'm glad that you spilled out this information, being a scout at the big league level, and I'm so happy that we still have a friendship since 1997 in the fall. We know each other.
Yeah, it's been a long time, maybe. Our boy Daxie just threw out say, funny. Cliffy was talking about the wrong guy the whole time. I mean, was I talking about the wrong?
Wait. So they're saying that. So I'm reading right now. It's a 17-year-old that was just signed by the Yankees internationally. Well, Jason, he's not scouting anymore, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. Oh, my bad. Yeah, then I'm talking about a totally different Dominguez. Then, yeah.
Oh, all right.
Different Jason Dominguez, the one that the Yankees got.
Yeah.
Try to think if I saw him down in the DR. I think he's an animal, dude.
He's a stud.
I think he's an animal. Yeah.
Is he a 5'2"?
Yes.
So he's got it all then.
Yeah, I mean, I think he signed for a pretty big signing bonus too.
Hey, Eddie Cliffy, what are they looking for in catchers right now, as far as scouting?
I mean, guys that are able to, steal pitches. I mean, that's like the big thing going on right now. Like the receivers, guys that are out there, guys that want to, pitchers want to throw to because they're just stealing strikes. They know how to frame, they know how to block. They know how to, command the game. I mean, obviously, arm strength. I mean, you'd love to have a guy that has a plus arm, but I mean, at the end of the day, if the guy can really receive and steal strikes, pitchers are happy, and you're going to help the team win. The bat, I mean, the run tool is last. Nobody cares about the running. You want some power out of the guy, obviously. I mean, usually catchers are bigger, stronger type dudes. I mean, you got the Laducas and the Pudges of the world that are smaller dudes that could hit tanks like Russell Martin, whatever. Yeah, I would say in today's game, it's about the receiving end of it for me, in my opinion.
So pretty much, as long as he's very athletic and he could receive very well and call good pitches and really know the pitcher, really know the diamond, and really know the game, his hitting can make up for that.
There's an art to catching. I mean, it's an extremely hard position on the field. Those guys are built different. They're quarterbacks of the team. You know what I mean? Like, You got to have soft hands. You guys had Posada all those years, was a former shortstop who became a catcher, which, naturally he had soft hands. He had good feet. I mean, obviously he could hit too, which was great, and that's what made him a freak, an elite, player. But yeah, I mean, it's all about the receiving right now for me.
Cliffy, boy, Andy Lewis asked, you ever hear of Daniel Covette, 14-year-old out of South Florida, signed with University of Miami at 14?
Daniel Covette, no. I mean, once again, I mean, I've just stepped into the prospect wire world here in December. Haven't really got a chance to be out there during the summer and see what some of these top prospects are like. If they weren't at our next gen with us, Eddie, I wouldn't know who they are. And in the scouting world, like I told you, we're just pay attention to the juniors that are going to be seniors, guys that we actually have to spend time getting to know and scouting.
So Cliffy, right now, you work with 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds. You pretty much help them get either drafted or to a good-ass college.
Well, I mean, we provide them with the games, the tournaments. So we run a 3-4 day tournament all over the country. So it's we'll have anywhere between 40 to 150 teams at a tournament. So I mean, it's just having those things rocking and rolling is a lot of work behind the scenes. I mean, these guys do a great job of putting it all together, and it's already a well-oiled machine. I mean, you look at our social media. I mean, we have over 40,000 followers throughout our platforms. I mean, it's pretty cool, pretty sexy, But I mean, like, running these showcases and the combines that we're gonna do. I mean, we're open to middle school kids, JV kids, varsity, travel ball, junior college, 4-year school, seniors in college, independent ball. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, you're allowed to come to one of our showcases and combines because we're going to have the machines there at the yard and the sensors there, and we'll be able to figure out, and match you up with kids of your own age. You know what I mean? Like, me versus you at age, 17 years old. Who hits baseballs harder? It's a battle of exit velocity. It's a battle of spin rate. I mean, that's kind of what we're looking for.
Right. Well, listen, Cliff, it's been great. I love it. I love the information you gave out. I'm sure my viewers, they kind of like me a little bit. You know what I mean? But
you're good.
Yeah, the thing is, what I'm doing right now is I'm testing this out. I'm not saying you're a test, but it's great that I interviewed a scout that it's been around the game of baseball for a while. My next guest, I'm gonna have the guy from The Good Doctor, Nicholas Gonzalez, the actor.
That's awesome.
Then I'm gonna have Stephen Bauer, the guy from the movie Scarface, and he was on the show Ray Donovan. So I'm gonna have all these guys. I'm just lining people up because you know what? I don't want to talk about the coronavirus. I don't want negativity. I get it. We're stuck in the hole right now. And you know what? I've never been in prison in my life, but I remember when I watch prison documentaries, they always say, just do the time. Don't let the time do you. And that's what I'm doing right now. Let me spend my time entertaining you guys, interviewing classic stories. It's the behind the scenes.
We love Eddie Mata in the house. Everybody's saying, go Eddie Mata. My daughter, my girl. I mean, like everybody. I mean, we're all Eddie Mata fans. I mean, back in the day, Eddie. I mean, we knew. You know what I mean? You were a big time personality type of dude. Seeing you on the red carpet all those times, we were laughing our balls off. And then all of a sudden, I mean, what was that one? You interviewed a ton of big leaguers, right? Ex-major leaguers for years. Remember? I mean, part of the Yes Network. I mean, I forgot what was that show called that you did years ago?
I did MLB Fan Cave. If I was more of a personality, now I know how to act. Now I could do both now. You know what I mean? And I could master both of them now. But I always have the people skills. I know how to interview people. I know how to get the right stuff out. I'm not negative because here's the thing. We did not mention the coronavirus once. And I don't want to hear about that because I fucking hear it on I hear it on the news all day long already. I don't want to hear it. I love Cliffy Terracuso, baby. Like Dick Vitale. You gotta love it, baby. You gotta love it.
Hey, and oh, by the way, those sideburns you had at TCU was from your play. Remember those sideburns?
Yeah.
That you had to wear?
Yeah, I had to.
They were sexy. You got a lot of, yeah. Girls loved it.
Well, yeah, I look like Ron Jeremy, a porn star in the 70s, with the 70s look right here, and the mustache like that. Because Thurman Munson had that look, so I was like, well, when you portray somebody, you better portray him right.
No doubt. You did awesome, man. I'm glad what you're doing, Eddie. I think like it's healthy, you know, during this crappy time, you know, that we're able to get on here, and the more of these, the better. And you know, it's entertaining. You know, it's fun, and it's a good time, man.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's you know, just look. I get what's going on in our world right now. I get it, but you know what? Let's eliminate that and let's talk about the glory days, the positive side, and talk about the game that people don't know what's going on when it comes to scouting and how you're trying to develop these kids to get to the big league level, to get to a good D1 scholarship, or to get to any college. You know, I respect any kid that plays college baseball, whether you're D3, NAIA, D1, whatever. You're still playing the game. You're still investing your time in there, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's a grind, bro. It ain't easy.
All right.
If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So, listen, Cliffy, give your a girl and the kids a kiss for me. I love them. Tell your brother I said what's up. Tell everybody down in South Florida I miss them. I will eventually show up there and we're partying, and I don't care what your wives say. You're hanging out with me.
I mean, you got, huh? Yeah, she said she's going with us. I mean, you got Grant Bard saying what's up. You got Dax Rankin. I mean, there's just so many. I mean, Wayne Kitson. You know, Brandon. I mean, all the old boys are here, man.
Wow.
You know, they're Scrappy, Picia. I mean, Lukey. You know what I mean, Palookie. You know, I mean, Luke's boys are freaking studs, and Scrappy's boys are studs, and Dax has a stud. I mean, you know, Clarky's kid is like 6'9" by now, and he's like 9 years old or something. I mean, no, he ain't 6'9", but he's tall.
I was about to say, we're a root of 6'9".
I mean, Romero's kid's a stud too. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to see how all our old teammates, how they're doing out there, and you know, and like their kids are playing and they care, and you know, it's fun to see, and a lot of them have reached out and said, hey man, hey, take a look at my boy's swing. I mean, Scrappy, hey, take a look at my boy's swing. I'm like, dude, send it over, man. I'll take it all day. I mean, I got 4 girls, you know what I mean? I'm on the other side of the tracks. I mean, we're softball swimming over here, dude.
But you know what, Cliffy? Most importantly, we have each other the rest of our lives, and that's the key, man, because we established that relationship back in the days, and now we're still together, even though we're separated, but we're still together in heart, and that's what I love about.
Oh, well, yeah, we're gonna have you again in Nash Vegas at Vanderbilt for the 2020, you know, next gen All-American games. You're gonna do your whole thing all over again with a new batch of kids.
Oh,
as soon as we get past all this crap, we're rocking and rolling. Dude.
Wait a minute, well, where we at? Vanderbilt University?
Oh yeah,
baby. Man, I heard their diamond, their clubhouse is like the big leagues, baby. The big leagues.
I mean, I gotta be, you know, pretty much, you know, neutral, Switzerland, if you will. They have a nice place, just like everybody else.
Okay, right. You're right. Politically, right. Cliffy, you're the best, man. I love you guys.
Love you.
Right?
I love you, bro.
We'll talk. Make sure you share this. Guys, don't be shy to share this video. Just share it. I'm trying to get out there, right? Don't diss me like that. Don't be shy. All right, I love you all.
All right, we love you, Eddie. Later.
All right, bye.